I'm here in the school garden. I'm going to be harvesting something for our cooking class this week. We are going to be making rhubarb coffee cake. So I've come to the school garden to harvest the rhubarb. The rhubarb is right here on the side of the school wall as you walk out the garden door, right past the scarlet runner beans. So to harvest the rhubarb, the part of the rhubarb that we eat is the stem. You can see it has huge green leaves. The green leaves are not edible. They're actually toxic to human beings. So never eat the leaves of a rhubarb plant. We only eat the stem of the rhubarb. So I'm going to go in to the very base of the plant and snip off the whole stalk. What color do you see? Bright red. The part of the rhubarb plant that we eat is the stem of the plant, and it is bright red. So I will be clipping off the big green leaf and throwing that into the compost and harvesting the red stalks for rhubarb coffee cake. Hi friends, we are back now with our rhubarb that we picked in the school garden. You'll remember we took the large green leaves off and we put those in the compost. And now I have just the red stalks and I washed them. And now we're gonna start on the rhubarb coffee cake recipe. This is a really special recipe because it comes from Miss Pearson's family. Her mother made this rhubarb coffee cake and Miss Pearson shared it with me. So thank you, Miss Pearson. So the ingredients we need are flour and sugar, 1 egg, obviously rhubarb, milk, brown sugar, salt and baking soda, and vanilla. The first thing I'm going to do is get the butter. I have 1 stick of butter to room temperature by putting it in the microwave because I just took it out of the refrigerator. So I'm going to put it in the microwave and just have it in there for a little bit to soften it up. While that's softening, I'm going to start chopping my rhubarb. We need 2 cups of rhubarb. Rhubarb can be stringy. You can see this, it's fibrous. So when you're chopping, with your proper technique, dominant hand on the handle, other hand safely on top, pushing down. And each piece is getting pushed aside because of those fibers. You want to make sure your knife is going all the way through. As you get further down the stem, it becomes more fibrous. Sometimes I just take those off. Put them in the compost. Okay, I'll get the butter. The butter is pretty melted. That is totally fine. The next ingredient is going to be 1.5 cups of sugar. Take my 1 cup measure, dig it in deep. Just gently shake it out to an even 1 cup. Pour that in. And then my 1/2 cup measure, dig it in deep. Gently shake that out to an even 1/2 cup measure. Now I'm going to blend these 2 together. Those are nicely incorporated. The next thing I'm going to do is crack my egg. I have my separate bowl so that if any shells get out into the bowl, I will just take them out with my finger. I'm cradling the egg firmly between these 2 fingers and resting it against my thumb. 1 nice crack against the side of the bowl, and then open the door. Crack. Open the door. And that eggshell will go into the compost. Now I'm going to add the egg to the butter and sugar and blend. Does everyone see that little eggshell in there? I'm going to get it out. I got it out. We don't want any eggshell in our rhubarb coffee cake. Okay, now I did all that in a large bowl. I have a medium-sized bowl. Then I'm going to put the dry ingredients in and blend those separately. The first thing I'm going to take for my dry ingredients is 2.5 cups of flour. So my next ingredient is the flour. I dug it deep in to the flour, and then I have my knife. The flat edge of the knife is going to scrape across the top of the flour so you have a nice even 1 cup measure. There's 1. 2. We need 2.5 cups. Here's my half cup. Same thing, dig it deep so there's much too much, and then scrape across the flat top, the flat part of the knife. 2.5 cups of flour. Then we need baking soda. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Dig it deep in and then drag it up the flap of the top so you have a nice even 1 teaspoon, and put it in the bowl. And then we need 1/2 teaspoon of flour. Remember to measure your flour over another bowl, not over your ingredient bowl. In case it spills out, you want it to overflow into the secondary bowl, not into your main ingredient bowl. We don't want too much salt. 1/2 teaspoon of salt into the dry ingredients. Okay, then I have my whisk. I am going to whisk together the dry ingredients so that the baking soda, the salt, and the flour are all incorporated. Okie doke. Now we are going to pour the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And we're going to blend it just a bit to get the two incorporated. Nicely incorporated. Now we're going to add our 1 cup of milk. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, it smells so good. Now I'm going to blend those to incorporate the milk. Okay, that is a lovely, smooth batter. Now our next step is going to be to finish chopping the rhubarb and then fold the rhubarb into the batter. I'll see you in a minute. All right, so all of our rhubarb is chopped. It is so beautiful. I'm going to put it into the batter, the bowl with the batter. Get every single piece. So it calls for 2 cups of rhubarb. It really depends on how big the stalks are that you had, how many stalks it's going to be. I think I probably had 10 stalks. They were pretty small though. So if you're buying rhubarb at the store, I think Whole Foods has it right now. It's probably 2 bundles of rhubarb. Okay, and now I'm going to fold the rhubarb into the batter. Taking my spatula, going under the batter, and folding the bottom over the top to get that rhubarb all mixed in, evenly distributed throughout the batter so that every bite has a lovely piece of rhubarb in it. That's my goal. Rhubarb has 2 harvesting seasons. One is the springtime, right now. It will be good to harvest until the second week of June. And there's a fall harvest as well. So you can make this in the spring and the fall. Okay, now I need a baking pan. All right, I have a 9-inch cake pan. I'm going to spray it, or you can rub butter on it or coconut oil, whatever you have, whatever is your preference. Then I'm going to pour the batter into the pan. And yum. Then I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and put it in a separate bowl. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, or a scooch more. I really like cinnamon. And then I'm going to blend the brown sugar and the cinnamon all together in a separate bowl. This is a similar topping to the cinnamon banana bread. And then we sprinkle on top. You can use as much or as little of this topping as you choose. I'm going to use about 1/2 of it, I think. There we go. Okay, now it's going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 45 to 55 minutes. When it's done, I'll let you know exactly how long it took. I'll see you soon. Okay, it's been in for 45 minutes, so I'm going to take it out and do the toothpick test. Looks beautiful. My toothpick. You always want to put the toothpick in the center of the cake, the highest part of the cake, the thickest part. It came out clean. It is ready. So, rhubarb coffee cake, Miss Pearson's family recipe. I hope if you have rhubarb growing in your garden, you'll harvest it and bake this up. If you don't have it in your garden, you can run to the store and get some. But make rhubarb coffee cake. It is delicious. Happy baking.